Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Thoughts from the Round Table. Episode, is this 13?
I think so. It's 13 or 14. If you clicked on it, you know what episode it is.
You know what episode it is. Today we're talking about Cats, 2019 film, directed by the visionary Todd Hooper?
I think so. I think it's Todd.
I think it's Todd Hooper. It shattered records at the box office, beating out Star Wars by a whopping $2.4 million. That is a lie.
This is, and I can't stress this enough, one of the worst movies I've ever seen. And you might say, if you're a avid listener of us, guys, you say that every time you watch a movie. Listen, this time, few redeeming qualities. Most of the horror movies we watch, I at least, can get into because they're stupid funny. I struggled. So, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, and with that riveting intro, please join us at the round table.
So my first point that I would love to make is the cast. When you look at this cast, you might think, wow, there are some people I know. How do they screw it up? Well, the 2.7 rating out of 10 on IMDb does not lie. But the cast, we've got Taylor Swift, the god of comedy, James Corden.
He's so funny.
Judi Dench, Jason Derulo, Idris Elba, Rebel Wilson, another comedy god.
Amazing part of this movie.
Man, did they screw it up. It was awful.
I think that this is probably the strangest movie-going experience of my recent life. And I might have said that about in a different podcast, but this kind of takes the cake. I always heard that this movie was an acid trip, and to be quite frank with you, I didn't necessarily believe it. One, never had acid. What could that possibly be like? I guess I found out because this movie, if it's anything like acid, I'm about to be a drug addict.
Yeah, I want to chase that feeling. Yeah, usually with our podcast, if you're new, here's what we usually do. We give a plot synopsis. I don't know if I'm going to be able to on this one.
Jacob, allow me.
Okay.
Allow me. So, the movie starts off with our main character, Victoria, stuffed in a small brown bag. And when you first watch this movie, you think that this bag is kind of tiny. You're like, what could possibly be squirming around in this brown paper sack? And then he throws the sack and it magically grows. And then the cats circle it and perform a demonic hellscape, ritual.
Yeah.
And then out comes Victoria the cat. And that's where the plot ends. And we start the next phase of the movie. Character introductions.
This is it was probably an hour long of just meeting characters.
This entire movie is character introductions. You've got plot at the very front, plot at the very back, and then a big chunk of meeting people in the middle. And let me tell you, you're going to lose interest. But you do got some bangers. I think the first character we meet is the magical Mr. Mistopheles. He sings a song. That's a common theme. After that song, we meet Rebel Wilson. Comedy god. But we gotta break into this.
Yeah, I really want to talk about Janae Dots is her name.
Yeah.
Jenny Any Dots? Is
Jenny
that it?
Any Dots.
What a name, first of all. Names out of the park. They killed it when it come to naming characters.
Greatest names probably out of any movie ever.
I would say that's fair. But a couple of problems with this scene. One that two, I'm going to mention two that I really, really bugged me. One, cockroaches. What the heck? Don't eat them. Cats don't eat cockroaches, first of all. I have cats. I don't think they eat cockroaches. Maybe if it was birds or, talked about the mice, they didn't eat those either. So I don't know what was going on there. But also, there's a specific line in this scene that really threw me off the entire movie. And I think I struggled to come back from it. When one of the cats sang, she likes to lay on anything flat, like a shelf or a window. And I said, no, what? Because, sure, both of those things are flat. Lots of things are flat. Neither of those rhyme.
I think the first bit of this scene, we get introduced to Rebel Wilson. She shows us her dancing mice. And you start to see the CGI fade, and you start to wonder, uh-oh, what did they do? What did they possibly do? And then it goes to the roaches, and I'm going to do my best to describe this scene, so bear with me, because you're not going to believe it. She says, cockroaches! And then a marching band of dancing cockroaches, like 1,000 strong, march in formation and climb a table and then start baking a cake and then become the cake and then be eaten by Rebel Wilson, all while dancing. And what
a true scene of beauty.
I think this is the perfect example of, I would say, the main problem with this movie is the people behind it ask themselves, can we do this? Can we make people into cats? Yes. Can we make mice into cats? Yes. Can we make mice into human? What did I say? Humans into mice. Humans into cockroaches. The answer is always yes. But in that, they forgot to ask themselves the most important question, and that's not, can I, but should I?
And this movie answers the question for audiences. No.
No. Resounding no.
Yeah. The next scene, another one that they hit out of the park. The Jason Derulo scene. Another great name for this cat. Rum
Tum Tucker.
Wow. I'm speechless.
I don't know what to say about this scene either.
It didn't add anything. I mean, at least with Rebel Wilson's scene, it kind of added like a character that didn't really mean anything, but this one I felt like especially was worse.
I'm not even going to try to describe what happened in this scene. All you really need to know is that there's a milk bar, and these cats drank the milk, and then Jason Derulo licked someone's foot.
Yeah.
That's kind of what killed it for me.
Not great.
The cats, it's not like they had paws. Like, these cats had, like, human hands and human feet, and he just licked that foot, which I guess probably hot for some people.
Not for me.
Kind of killed it.
Yeah, I think we, as always with these, we gotta go off topic for a second. Whose idea was it to leave their hands and their feet as human hands and feet, and not change the skin color? Like, if it was a white actress, but they were playing brown. Our main cat, Victoria. Like a silver, more like, kind of grayish cat. Pale white hands. If you're watching the video, I got pale white hands. Imagine me with gray fur. You'd be like, what is that freak show?
I'm going to make this weirder for you, Jacob, because I don't think the person who played Victoria was white. I'm pretty sure she was...
That makes it... Oh, no. She's like...
I thought she was black.
No. She's English.
Well...
I don't know.
That doesn't really answer the question.
Here, I'll show you a picture.
That's like a nationality.
I'll show you a picture of her. If you're watching the video, a picture of her will pop up on the screen. I don't know.
Oh, she's like light-skinned.
Yeah.
So, still weird.
I guess it makes it better, but like, she had like really white hands.
Still weird. So I
don't
know if like they kept her hands the same, or if they paled the hands on purpose.
Probably both. That's impossible. I don't know why I said that. I think they probably paled him on purpose. That would be something the director would do. The whole costume design in general. I looked up halfway through the movie of what the actual Cats musical costume design was. I think it's a little bit better, just because it's a live musical and like can't really do that much else. Like Lion King, you cut it some slack. It's a live musical, you know.
Mm-hmm.
What are you supposed to do? This one, you have all the editing power in the world. Make a freaking one with normal cats. Just have the people voice it. No one's gonna be mad. I'd probably watch it and enjoy it.
Well, yeah, you make a fair point. To be honest with you, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend to you guys that I hated this movie. I thought it was really funny, not intentionally. It wasn't good in any aspect, but it was really funny to watch.
I actually am ready to. You just said it wasn't good in any aspect. I have a couple things that I enjoyed.
Well, I shouldn't have said that. I do. There were some good moments.
Yeah. Should we get to the good moments already?
Or should we finish the plot?
Let's finish the plot.
So there's a couple more characters I kind of want to hit on. We can't do all of them because let me tell you, there are a lot of characters. I think we need to do my favorite cat, the comedy legend himself, James Corden, Bustopher Jones. So, as you know, if you watch this podcast, I guess you probably don't know. We've not reviewed a James Corden movie yet. James Corden, master of comedy. Funniest man on earth. I'd wager to say funniest man that's ever lived of all time.
Do you know he's 41?
Dude, he's kind of young.
No, it's kind of old. I thought
What?
he would be
I
younger.
thought he was like 80.
What?
James Corden's only 41.
Yeah.
Still funny.
He's fat. That's funny. Isn't that funny?
That's so funny.
His personality trait is being fat, just like most people's personality trait is watching The Office.
But to clarify, if you couldn't sense the sarcasm, I don't really like James Corden very much. But in this movie, he was got Bustopher Jones. His character trait was being fat, like literally every other James, what is his name?
Corden.
James Corden's character, every single one. He ate a lot. That was it.
That's the joke. Laugh.
I'm waiting. Please laugh.
It's the joke.
So that was that. We meet. I think we meet the one character who eventually transcends next. What's her name?
Grizabella.
Grizabella. I think it's the glamour cat.
Yeah.
But we thought it was the grammar cat, which would have made the movie a lot better.
I would have enjoyed it more.
Yeah.
She was probably the best part of this movie.
She was really talented.
Really good singer.
And, she was one of the cats that kind of didn't look as bad.
Yeah.
There were a couple cats that didn't look horrible.
No. There were a couple that looked awful, though.
Yeah. True. James Corden cat looked terrible. But, Ian McKellen cat looked kind of good.
Yeah.
I liked Ian McKellen
He has
cat.
a very cat face, though.
Yeah. And I think, one of the main problems was that they just kind of, left the noses on.
It was disgusting.
Made me kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah. The next character I want to get to, Idris Elba. His character, McCavity. I mean, what a waste of a superstar of an actor.
He had a cool hat.
And cool eyes.
That was it.
He's a magician. He can disappear. It's funny.
What actually happened to him?
He fell off the air balloon.
If you've not seen this movie and just hearing these kind of quotes, I promise you, it doesn't make any more sense when you've seen the movie.
Yeah.
But he kind of he wanted to transcend, which I guess we should get to the main point of the movie, is these cats wanted to, and I don't really understand, but they went to the Jellicle Ball, for Jellicle cats, and they wanted to be reborn by flying in a hot air balloon and then exploding into a ball of light.
And we don't know if they make it, by the way.
I think it might just be a death sentence.
I think that Grizabella is a Christ figure.
I wouldn't doubt it.
I'm ready to to come in with a hot take.
Mhm.
Hot take incoming. Load the hot take cannon. This is the weirdest ending to any movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, ever. I can't think of one that I will say is more different than this one, because sure is original, you know.
That's fair.
It's like if a little kid wrote a book. And they're like, and then they flew in a hot air balloon and they win. Like, that's what it felt like.
Well, the ending was also weird because it just it didn't end. There were like 4 parts where you'd think, all right, well, roll credits, and then they just came back.
Yeah, and I think they broke the fourth wall, from what I understood, saying like, "Oh, take care of your cats and they'll become your friend." Like, that's what I picked up from this. Could be wrong. Probably am.
If you want to play a little fun game, you can fast forward your copy of the 2019 movie Cats to the very end, and look at the gray cat on the right of Old Deuteronomy, and just watch his face.
It'll give you a nice chuckle.
And there's the black cat that's right behind her. It just starts licking his lips furiously at one point. He's just like,
yeah, another part with the end that really weirded me out. It weirded me out with every single time it happened, when they rubbed faces or necks. It's like, listen, that's nasty. I know cats do it, but like, they're not human. These are real humans. And that kind of makes me want to cut my eyes out.
Would it be better if they made out?
Yeah.
I don't know if it would be.
I'm ready to say it would be.
Maybe because of the mouth and the nose.
Yeah.
Like, if it was a cat mouth and a cat nose and they rubbed heads, I'd kind of get it.
Yeah.
Like,
seeing this made me want to shove a fire poker through my brain. It was awful. Never. Don't do that. Here's my big problem with this movie. I'm shaken with anger.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make people look like cats. I've said it over and over again so far. It's nasty. Just don't do it. Who at the company that did this?
It was Universal.
Oh, who at Universal was smoking a ton of pot and said, you know what? I got an idea. Let's get the rights to cats and make them look like humans.
Let's take this musical that literally already people regard as like the weirdest musical ever wrote, with the strangest costumes. And you know what? Let's just bump that shit up to 11, baby. Let's just make them humanoid. Let's give those cats fingers.
What? I just don't get it. And out of the scale of musicals that I want to be turned into movies, this is the bottom one.
And that being said, like, the musical Cats on Broadway is like so much better than this.
It has to be. Well, it can't be any worse, that's for sure.
Because, like, the thing that attracted people, it was like, I think I remember watching like a documentary, not like a documentary style video on this movie, and they talked about like the old bits of Cats, and it was very divisive. Like, a lot of people liked it when it first came out because it was so stupid weird. And they're like, wow, putting a bunch of people up there, and they're just kind of having fun, dancing around, and they're dressed like cats, and it's crazy. Don't put that at a movie. That's magic that's magic for the stage, you know?
Yeah.
It's like you take a movie like Cats, and if you want to make it a movie, if you want to give that like accessibility, you record actors doing it on stage. That's always the better musical.
Yeah.
Because there's something about, like, being on stage that makes a musical work way better than being in a movie. And, like, if it's made for stage.
Yeah, I agree. I also think, we've seen in the past where people have turned musicals into movies, and they've succeeded. Why don't you just follow the formula that people have been doing? They tried to make this movie as if the characters were on stage, so they looked human and cat. But they were, like, not on a stage.
It's too far into the uncanny valley.
Yeah.
I will say, though, that the lighting was very, like, reminiscent of stage lighting. It was really cool. There was a lot of really pretty shots in this movie that if you silenced it and, like, took out the cats, you would have, like, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, like, some of the scenes of London at night were really neat. And, like, all the fluorescent, is that what it's called? Like
Yeah.
the lighting of the shops.
I don't know if it's fluorescent, but I know what you're saying.
Very pretty.
Very
Very
pretty.
well done. The scenery of this movie, really good.
Yeah, I really liked. I think another thing that was really good was the dancing. In a lot. So I want to make a distinction between what the actors did and what the CGI people did, because you've got cats that are really impressive. You got the railway cat, where his number was fantastic.
Probably the best scene.
Probably the best scene in the movie. He was very talented at tap dancing, and you kind of forgot that he was a cat for a moment, and you're like, wow, this guy can really move.
Yeah.
And it was good. It was awesome. The scenery was good. Victoria, the person who played her, I know she's like actually into ballet, like a professional ballet person.
Yeah.
And you could tell she was very good. Once again, you maybe took out the part where she was this weird humanoid cat alien freak, you'd be like, wow, this is really awesome. But that's the thing about this movie that blows my mind, is it's so bad, but everyone in it was so talented.
I'm just curious what made people think it was a good idea to sign on to this movie. Money?
What was the budget of this? I bet it was $1 bazillion, and I bet they lost so much. Whose bright idea was it to release it the same night as Star Wars?
Budget was $95 million.
Good lord.
Made 75 million at the box office.
Yikes, that is a loss.
It grossed $27.2 million in the United States and Canada.
Ooh.
$47.4 million in other territories.
That is not great. That is not great.
Whoa. Deadline Hollywood calculated the net loss of the film to be $113.6 million when factoring together all expenses and revenues.
Wow.
Not great. I must say.
Not looking good for cats, too.
No. But like, okay, here's one. Les Mis, for example.
Mhm.
Probably the best. The 2012 one. I don't know if there's another one, but just to make it clear, 2012 one. I think this is probably the best musical turned movie. Now, that it's very well done for Hollywood.
True.
Doing a movie is like doing a musical is what I'm saying. $441.8 million at the box office. People will come to musicals if they're good.
And that's also the thing, is if you're Hollywood, right, and you're doing a musical, and it's not going to be on stage, you've got to, embrace that aspect of it. You can't be because really, all of this, all of Cats, could have been done on stage.
Yeah.
There were no real shots, besides a couple that I will want to get into later in the podcast, but most of it was like you're sitting there and you're watching it on stage. And that's not very cool when it's not on stage, when it's a big budget Hollywood thing.
Right.
Let's take, for example, probably the most well-known recent musical movie, The Greatest Showman.
Yeah.
Fantastic movie. I was kind of on it. I watched it. I get it.
I still haven't seen it.
Dude, you've got to watch it. It's really good, actually. It's got Hugh Jackman.
I like
great
Hugh Jackman. He's Wolverine.
Yeah, genuinely, the whole movie is a ride, and it's super good. But it embraces that bit of, yeah, this could be on stage, and it'd be a lot lamer on stage, because they do a bunch of cool stuff. They have them dancing on rooftops and cutting and transitioning mid-song and going crazy, and it's awesome. It's wow, this is what Hollywood should be doing when it's making movies. I think Les Mis did a great job of that, showing scale, making it a real believable world.
Yeah, or Mamma Mia.
Yeah.
I don't like that movie. My girlfriend loves it, but I don't like it. Anyway, it actually, in the grand scheme of musicals, the fact that they have it set up, so, I don't know if they could do it as well on a stage, makes it a good movie musical.
Yeah. I think, when you got a movie like this, where it's set in specific rooms, always in a room, you're like, wow, I'm just watching a movie that I've been just watching a musical that I should be watching in person and be a lot better.
Sure.
But that being said, I do want to talk about some scenes that maybe we're not so great for stage, and probably the worst bits of the movie. And that's the bad CGI. Let me be clear. There are parts in this movie that just won't make sense. You'll have cats that just randomly learn to fly. They'd be jumping and just, woo! Now I'm flying. You've got a cat that was spinning and did like a spin jump in midair, and when he was supposed to land, he just took off, left the atmosphere, he was in space, he just straight up. What went through their heads? Why? Did that add anything?
Lots of levitation in this movie when it didn't make sense for things to levitate.
You were left thinking, are these cats supernatural?
I think that as an observer, you're the one on acid. You know, like you're sitting in there watching, and these cats are like, come along. But they're actually not cats at all. They're not human cats that can sing. They're just normal cats. And so this is all a big scheme from Big Acid.
Big Acid.
To get people to buy their drugs.
Big Acid's out here controlling, scheming behind. They're like, we're gonna make this movie and we're gonna hook people. They're gonna go into the theater. They're gonna be like, whatever these cats were on, I need some of that.
This is like the overplayed meme. Cocaine is a hell of a drug. You know, like, but this time it's real. Like Conspiracy Jacob says. The dealers behind Universal. Big Tobacco and Big Acid. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know who thought this would be a good idea.
That's the real kicker in this, is who sat down and who read the script and said, you know what? I'm going to give you $90 million.
Big Acid did.
Big Acid. They've got so much money. Dude, I bet they do.
I would like to take a little tangent and talk about how this is one of the funnier things that the internet has done. Putting big in front of a word, in front of any word, and then just talking about how they control everything. Big bottled water. You know, because big pharma, big tobacco. It just makes me laugh. You could just put big in front of anything.
And it'd be funny.
It's a conspiracy theory.
But I wouldn't even be surprised. I bet you, like, the people, the real Big Acid, like, if people are controlling the acid trade, because you know that there's kingpins.
Sure.
They're all probably rolling in money.
Yeah.
They're thinking, how could we sell this drug?
What a great marketing ploy.
If I found out that this movie was Big Acid's big dream, I would respect this movie way more. Dude, I'd buy 15 copies. Mark that down. And if anyone goes out there, if we've got any conspiracy journalist or like investigative journalists watching this podcast, which I highly doubt. But if we do, if you're sitting there at home and you're watching, you're like, I need a new big case. Investigate this. If you prove that Big Acid was behind the creation of this movie, I will personally buy 15 copies of the movie, and I'll send you one.
I will be there to watch and buy the 15 copies, because that will be hilarious. Yeah, I don't know. I just think that how is that a more realistic version of what happened than a company actually greenlighting this project?
There's got to be some outside. Conspiracy theories aside, actually, conspiracy theories right back into the forefront. There's got to be something behind this. Because they did not come up with... No one would greenlight this. What studio would do this?
No one.
Like, this is not even a popular musical.
No. That's what's so confusing about it.
It's like, sure, it's got one iconic song. I'd kind of get it if, like, someone, like, the behind Hamilton came up and was like, hey, let's make a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And the company was like, yeah, I'll give you $90 million, you go ham. This is an absurd budget to give to something that, like, doesn't have a following.
Yeah, so, like, if I just Googled best musicals ever, Les Mis movie, Phantom of the Opera. Is there a recent movie with that?
No.
Okay, perfect. Rent. Wicked. West Side Story.
Dude, Wicked is a musical. Repping the shirt, baby. I saw this in New York. But Wicked is one like that. If you wanted a big budget movie musical, what a good musical to do. Why Cats?
I don't know.
Big Acid.
You're welcome. You could even do like if you're just wanting to make, if you got an itching to make a musical, why don't you do like Sound of Music, My Fair Lady? You know, like classics. You know, I don't know. I just feel like you could do another Fiddler on the Roof.
Yeah.
And you could, well, I guess they just remade Annie. Oklahoma, Grease. There are just so many movies before you even think, you know what? Cats. Maybe Rebel Wilson paid for it all because she's like, this is my dream role.
I just don't know who would. I'd kind of get it, right? If they said, hey, let's make Cats as a musical. I mean, it's a musical people know. Let's do it. And the company was like, all right, I'll give you like $30 million. Go make it. $90 million is absurd. 90 million is the part that's getting me because like I don't know, like is it even like necessary? They could have done regular costumes, right?
Yeah.
And saved so much money. And also, who was the genius, right? If you've made, all right, say for example, you have spent $90 million on a movie. At that point, you've invested, right? You've sunk a shitload of money. Why would you release it at the same time as Star Wars? You're guaranteed to lose.
The last of the Skywalker saga.
That movie wasn't even the best movie ever, and that Skywalker saga, or Last Skywalker, Rise of Skywalker, whatever that last one was called, I cannot remember for the life of me right now, but that movie could have been a load of garbage. And the Star Wars fan base would have still made that a financial success. What were you thinking, Universal?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like every movie should look at like, you know what? If it's like an Avengers movie or a Star Wars movie coming out opening weekend, let's push it back a week.
Even 1 week would have done it.
Yeah.
The same release as Rise of Skywalker? Come on.
Because who in their right... I'm sorry if you would go see Cats over this. Or over Star Wars. But who in their right mind would?
Okay, even so, right? If you look at both of them, they've got their dedicated fan base. And so, like, there would be that tiny fraction of people that are dedicated to Cats. The Cats fandom. I'm sure there's an r/cats or a Tumblr community where it's thriving. But that's not going to have more than 200 members max. Star Wars is huge. Also, but the vast majority of people are kind of neither super fans of both. They're looking at their movie ticket. They've got the last one of the Skywalker saga. Even if you can't stand Star Wars, this is an iconic point in filmmaking history.
Yeah.
This is the biggest franchise that's ever existed, ending the saga that started in 1977. This is a moment in time that you want to be at. Cats, you've seen the promotion. You're scared.
Yeah.
Maybe a little concerned about your sanity. Why would you go?
Also, out of all the people that go, okay, so this is an even smaller part.
Yeah.
Out of all the people that go to movies, because I feel like now, Pierce and I love going to movies. I feel like we are now the minority of people.
That's so true.
You know, but like out of this tiny minority that goes to movies, right? What one holds in their hand Cats and Skywalker and says, you know what? I want to see both, but I'm only going to go to one. Because if you want to see both that bad and you like going to the movies, you'll go to both. But clearly, there's 4 of those people? You know, like, I don't know. I just feel like, 1, this movie wasn't good, and 2, it released on, like, I understand they want to release when people are, like, with their families, which I think was the goal.
A family movie.
Yeah, because I think, all the Alvin and the Chipmunks movies came out at Christmas time because, people will be with their families. You want to go to a movie. I kind of get it.
Yeah.
Don't release it when there's going to be a Star Wars.
Okay, so this is kind of like going back to what you said earlier about how we're kind of like the minority. That's just a far tangent from Cats, but I think we've already lost Cats, it doesn't make any sense. We're moving on. But I did listen on another podcast, and they were talking about how I forget what podcast I was listening to, but they were like, I wish that movie theaters would just disband. And they got a lot of like praise for it. They're like, yeah, I kind of just want to sit in my house and watch a movie on my TV when there's no one bothering me, and when I don't have to be afraid that my phone's gonna go off. And I'm like, it's like, man, we are really in the minority.
Yeah.
We're not with the future times. For the first time, I think, in my life, I'm like being like what I thought my grandparents were, where I'm like, no change. I want it this way.
Old man Jacob has been this way for a while. I knew I was out of the loop when I didn't know what bet was, but now I know I'm really out of the loop because I want to go to the movies.
I feel like there's something really important about movie theaters.
It's a level of escapism that few things provide.
Yeah.
You know, like, I feel, okay, this is just an example. This is probably recency bias. One of my favorite viewing experiences, other than any Star Wars movie, but I'm going to cut those out because those are hype-based.
Yeah.
When Pierce and I saw 1917 in theaters, honestly, one of the better viewing experiences I've ever had.
Mm-hmm. And
I would have thought that movie was probably a quarter as good if I watched it at my house, because I would have been playing on my phone or going to poop or whatever I was doing. Like, I don't know, I just feel like when I can sit down and watch a movie at a movie theater, I feel like that movie, I get a real sense of what that movie is supposed to be.
Yeah. Also, maybe I'm a loser, right? And maybe other people just don't have this kind of thing. But movies are like an event. You know, when a Star Wars movie, when an Avengers movie, when a Marvel movie, DC movie, 1917 movie, when a movie you want to see comes out, it's like, holy crap, I'm so excited. I've been waiting. I can go to the theater and watch it. It's like a event almost for you. And I feel like if they took that off and be like, oh, well, it's on Netflix, I'd be like, okay.
I think that's why we have a movie podcast and other people don't. Because few experiences do I love more than going to the movies.
I know,
I'm so excited for them to open up again. I was talking to Emma the other day, and I was like, I'm literally going to spend like 2 or 3 nights driving to Columbus to go to the movie theater.
Yeah, I'm pumped.
I'm so excited
it's
for
an experience.
I got an AMC gift card burning a hole in my pocket.
Dude, if AMC's even alive after this,
I will be genuinely sad.
Well, dude, they might literally not be.
I know.
It's so sad. People are focusing, like, when they say, oh, the movie business is going to go under after this. They're thinking of, like, big movie companies. Disney's they're not going to be phased. You look at them, and you're like, holy crap, they've lost a ton of money. What? Be open for a week, and they're back to the green? But, gosh, theaters, especially small-town theaters, will close.
Yeah. Because they're already struggling.
Yeah.
This is just the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, there's some theaters that I went to. There's like a tiny one. I forget where it is. It might be in Columbus. It is in Columbus.
I know what you're talking about.
It's a tiny little theater. Really cute. It'd be like a really fun place to go. That place will not survive COVID.
No.
Guaranteed.
I think also, I was listening to a podcast. I thought this was an interesting idea. So the guy, I've talked about him a lot on the podcast, Jason Blumhouse. Jason Blum, maybe? I don't remember. It's one of the two. He makes all the horror movies that I love. He was talking about, like, he works a lot with Universal.
Yeah.
And talked about how, like, he could see in the future movies being at theaters for 3 weeks, 4 weeks,
mm-hmm.
and then immediately going to digital. $20 pay-per-view.
Dude, I kind of would like that.
That makes the most sense to me, because he's like, you still have people who love going to the movies and are willing to pay whatever amount because they love going to the movies. I'm like, oh, that's me.
That's me.
Yeah, because, and I thought, because then it's the best of both worlds. You get the movie so you can still kind of be in the conversation if you want to just watch it at your house.
Yeah.
And also, I think that also makes viewing recent movies for a big event a lot better. Because if you've got 4 people at your house, you want to watch a movie that came out a month ago, put the $20, everyone pays $5. I think it works great for the consumer, but awful for the movie companies.
And that'll be really good for content creators. Because, like, I don't know, there is that weird moment. There's like when, I don't know, if you're a content creator, you probably like understand this more. But if you're like talking about a movie, you want to like have seen it recently. You want to be able to, especially if people are actually like diving deep into the movie, like deeper than what we do, where we watch it once and we just talk about what we just watched. But like there's people that want to dive in, and they probably have to watch back scenes like so many times. And so they've got that moment, that glimpse in the theater life where they can go a bunch and they can see it and they can dive into it. But then there's that drought of like random time where it's just not available anywhere except sketchy websites from someone recording with their phone.
Yeah, and like even then, you know, let's say you're a movie critic and you write about them. You have the sweet spot of when it comes out in the movies and when it comes out on DVD/digital, and then it's dead.
Yeah.
And there's that time between where your article does not matter. Or like podcast or whatever it may be. And like this way, you know, you've got a straight shot of what you're doing.
Yeah. I think that would be a lot. Actually, that would be the system I would hope that goes forward.
Me too.
But I have a bad feeling that we're moving towards a society that wants everything now. I don't want to leave my house to go watch the movies. I want to press a button on my TV and it appears here. I think that's kind of the way we're moving, which is what I'm saddened by it.
Yeah.
I hope that it moves slower than I think it will, because I think it would make a lot of movies a lot less special.
Yeah.
Because you never go up to someone and be like, or I guess maybe you do, but I've met a lot of people and I say, "What's your favorite movie?" And they say a movie, and I'm like, "Why?" And they're like, "Oh, well, I saw it in the theater as a kid."
Yeah, you get that a lot.
Like, my favorite movie, you're not going to ask me what my favorite movie, and I'm going to be like, Scooby-Doo 2, I saw it on DVD with my grandparents. That's not going to be an experience that lasts you more than a day.
Right.
You're going to have to make movies way better to capture the same magic you get in a theater.
Yeah, I think that's a really fair point, because like I said, there's something about being surrounded in the movie. Like, it's pitch black. You don't really know what else is going on. And I feel like it makes bad movies a little better.
Oh, yeah. And it makes good movies 20 times better.
Yes.
Like, if you go to IMAX, I went to IMAX to see Rise of Skywalker.
Great.
And holy crap. I walked out of the IMAX theater, and I'm like, I kind of forgive the movie. A lot of its flaws were like, I don't even care anymore because it's so cool that I'm in the movie.
True.
And so, I don't know, losing that would be a heavy loss, I feel like.
Yeah. So, unless you have anything to say while we were talking about cats, I think it's time for us to skedoodle.
Skedaddle.
Thanks so much for listening to this podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, check out us on your favorite podcast apps. Just give us a little search or check out the link below. There's a new link tree that'll take you to all of our places. You got Twitter, Instagram. I'm going to put our Discord on there because I just forgot about that.
That's smart.
Yeah. Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify. If there's one that's not on there, hit us up and we'll send you a little link-a-do. Or search it. We're on there.
Yeah, and if you are a watcher or a listener, I should say, on Apple Podcasts, please scroll down, give us a 5-star review, write it out. Once, because Apple is dumb, and we cannot actually read your reviews until we get at least probably 6. We have 3 right now, so once we start being able to read reviews, we're going to read them at the end of the podcast. And so if you have something to say, or you want to say something on the podcast, as long as it's not racist, leave it in a review.
Yeah.
So with that, I'll see you guys later.
Yeah. Bye.